Metaphysical thinking is a hallmark of the New Thought movement. Meta means above, beyond, or transcend. So transcending the physical, you are metaphysical thinkers. You understand that we are thought beings. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. How about our original thought being? God, divine mind. Judy's introduction this morning is about everything that I choose to speak upon today, and I love how divine mind works in us and through us and for us, as you had that lovely introduction. Thoughts become things. At the beginning of this series, we talked about how our thoughts are where we can create change in our lives. And we also talked about using a short creative visualization every day to help bring our thoughts to life. In the second talk, we explored how beliefs shape our thoughts and therefore our life. Beliefs underlie our thoughts and actions. By exploring our opinions and how we act, we can see the underlying beliefs. We can also install new beliefs by consciously changing our thoughts, words, and actions. Last time, we took a deep dive into our emotions, how they are the product of our beliefs and perceptions, how emotions are life's feedback system giving us information about what we believe, and how even unpleasant emotions can point to limiting beliefs about certain situations in our lives. So if thoughts become things, is it necessary to take action? Because we do a lot, those of us that are metaphysical thinkers consider prayer action. And I sit in my prayer chair and I believe I take a lot of action in that prayer chair. Yet we still need to take action in the world. We need to get out of our prayer chair or off the couch and into the world so we are more available to life's magic. Knowing the truth is not enough. We must get out there and live it. In addition to thinking about what we want and visualizing it, we need to speak as it already as is, as if it were already a reality in our life. So by consciously, you know what, I'm being led to read this right now. I was going to close with this. Okay, that's what happened last time. Ernest Holmes, from his Daily Wisdom, today nothing emanates from my consciousness other than that which will bless and heal. This lesson teaches us of the cause and effect, the plaything of the soul. How lovely is that? The plaything of the soul. Sages have always taught that our thoughts and acts ride on a return circuit, and they never fail to react upon us until we have transcended the negative causation set in motion by such effects. So that cause and effect, when something negative goes out, something negative returns, and then we have an upward spiral if we choose to go to the positive, and we have a downward spiral if we choose to continue in the negative. This is why we are taught that we should do unto others what we would have them do unto us. It is the old law of the returning circle. In this law alone, we can find exact justice, and through understanding this law, come to realize with Robert Browning, all's love, yet all is law. The universe imposes neither evil nor limitation upon us, nor can we impose evil or limitation upon it. However, being free agents, we may and must experience, at least temporarily, the result of our own acts. As the Bhagavad Gita, it's not coming out today, tells us, the lamp of wisdom shining in the darkness of ignorance alone can set us free. Let me say that again. The lamp of wisdom shining in the darkness of ignorance alone can set us free. Realizing that the universe has bestowed upon me the divine right to be affected by my own act. So I have the divine right to be affected by my own act. Today I guard all of my thoughts, seeing to it that nothing emanates from my consciousness other than that which blesses and heals. If nothing goes forth from me that can hurt, then nothing can return to me that can harm. The knowledge of this truth makes me wise. The consciousness of good at the center of my being is my sanctuary. Again, Emmanuel, Judy was already talking about this. The consciousness of good at the center of my being is my sanctuary. Faith in the justice of the universe is my altar. And upon this altar, I lay my offering of peace, of joy, and of prosperity for the whole world. So we talk about this law of cause and effect. And you know, a divine law is a divine law. It doesn't matter what we put into that cause and effect. If we put in a positive cause, we're going to have a positive effect. And if something is less positive, it's going to be a less positive effect. And that's why it's so important for us to understand that our thoughts become things. Because it is the thoughts that we put out there that return to us. And when we take action, so it's one thing to have the thought, and then our next job is to take action on that thought. So by consciously choosing our words and actions, we do two things. We claim and install beliefs that scream success, which will then change our thoughts. So think back to session 2, and we spent a lot of time talking about that. And then secondly, by physically taking action, we get out into the world where life's magic can happen to us, for us, about us, and within us. We live and move and have our being in this infinite, eternal, intelligent field of energy that loves us. This matrix of energy is the source of all potentiality. Get out into the world to let divine intelligence orchestrate your life. Get off your couch to go out and create your life. Mike loves to say that for every step you take, the universe takes 10,000 steps on your behalf. And that is such a lovely thought, and Judy proves it with her vision boards, right? With her intention, setting that intention, writing that dream to be living in another place for her Christmas list, and she's there. And I'm sure you took some action steps, because I'm sure you had to, I don't know, check the paper or the web to see if there was something available. You had to run your budget, right? There would be another action. You'd figure out your budget. How much can I afford? You would take action steps to go look at places. So it's not like you sat in your prayer chair and waited to wake up one morning in your new place. We still take action steps, and they can be small baby steps. They start with an intention, right? And then depending upon what it is we want to manifest, we take step by step towards that goal. So what do you want, and what can you do to physically take action towards it? Well, we just kind of made a list with Judy of what probably would have happened. But the first thing you do is you make a list. And because there's something powerful about writing our dreams. And yes, you can type them on your computer, and you know it's even more powerful to write them with your hand, with pen on paper. So think of a situation you want to improve or create. And then make a list of 12 things that you can do action. You can take action. And it doesn't matter how small it is. It doesn't have to be some big thing. It can be just the smallest of steps, where you do a Google search to find out how you figure out where apartments are for lease or where you can buy a house. That can be a step. That's taking action. And so, for example, for new improved or improved work, you could make business cards, you could go online, you could find job markets, you could talk to people that are in this field in which you want to enter, you could talk to your boss about getting ahead. There's so many action steps that you could take that only require your intention and a small amount of effort. And then when you do that, when you start taking the step, the universe responds. God's like, oh, yippee, Connie finally got out of her prayer chair, and she's moving towards this. She's doing what I want her to do, because once she steps out in the world, all the other 7.5 billion people can start to engage in this magic, in this activity, this divine order that brings what it is that we're requesting. Then, and if you want a new improved health, what you can do, I choose to eat something healthy each day. I have chosen to go find a functional medicine doctor who is as little as I choose to use the Western medical model, I want to use it at its most forward point. So I searched and found a functional medicine doctor that tends to think way ahead of what more traditional medical model, Western medical model might use. I have chosen to read a lot of books about health and the body and how we process food and how we stay healthy for a long time. I've known since a child I was going to live till I was 96. I've just known that. And in today's world, that can be healthy. We can be healthy that long. And it might be longer, who knows now. So when you want to make massive change, decide in what area, pick an area, make it easy. You know, how about abundance, right? Who doesn't want abundance? And then list 40 things to do and pick one. Pick one thing and start. And one of the things that Mike Dooley comes back to time and time again is that he talks about the universe just wants to help you. I mean, it's just that simple. And for every one thing we do, the universe does 10,000 things. And all we have to do is start. Even if we're going the wrong direction, the universe will get us steered back around the other way. Every door that we knock on, that door opens or another one is forced open because we knocked on that door. And I really like that metaphor. You know, knock and just keep knocking because one door is going to open. The GPS navigation device, as an example. And this is charming, and if you don't already know how he does this, I'm going to share the story with you now. But the first thing you have to do when you're creating change is you have to give the system your destination. So you are in your GPS or your iPhone, and you type in the number, where the street address number where you're going. So let's say you were at the Abraham Hicks event, you know, recently, and you met someone, you made a brand new friend, and you decided you wanted to go meet them, and they've invited you to their ranch in East Texas. So you got their number and you got their address, and boy, you punched in that number and you're ready to go, and it says 3 hours. It's going to be 3 hours. And you're like, okay, so I'm ready to go for 3 hours. So the system automatically figures out the quickest, most direct route to get to your destination. And it might even give you 2 or 3 choices, right? So in life, when we think new thoughts of change, the universe knows how to get us there. Judy said that. Divine mind has got this, right? Divine order is in place. The universe is instantly calculating the coincidences and happy accidents that can make your dreams a reality. And the universe knows how to do all of this. You just decide what you want and be willing to get out there. So before the navigation system works, if it's actually one that's in your car, there's one thing you have to do before it will really begin functioning. And that is you have to put your car in drive. Because when you put your car in drive and you start rolling, then all of a sudden the calculations, because I might be rolling this way and I'm headed on towards my new friend's house out in East Texas, and don't you know, I got to going and I went and I saw this sign for a farmer's market. I'm like, whoa, I could stop and get some fresh fruit, right? So I follow the sign, I pull off the highway, and I go to this farmer's market and I get all this fresh fruit for me to eat in the car and for my friend. I can take it to my friend as a gift. But all of a sudden I'm over here, right? I'm not back on this road. So then I decide, you know, I'd really like some of that, I'd like some nice mineral water that'll really benefit my body, and I know Whole Foods sells that. So I'm gonna go to Whole Foods next because there's one just over here, and I'm gonna get that mineral water, and then I'll have that nice healthy snack all the way there. Well, all of a sudden, I was supposed to be here and I'm way over here, right? Well, the GPS is constantly calculating, right? So once I got to the farmer's market, it was calculating how to get me back to the highway in the quickest, happiest way, all right? Well, then I went from there, then I decided to go to Whole Foods. Well, that GPS system is not going to take me back to the farmer's market and back to where I took off, right? It's over here, and it's going calc, recalc, recalc, recalc. Look at this. In 3 minutes, we're going to be back on the highway. This is what divine order is doing all of the time in our lives. And the only way we stop it is when we stay stuck at home. It's working for us all the time. And we just have to remember that. And we have to know that the miracles are happening. And sometimes we see them, and most of the time we don't. I'm telling you, most of the time we don't see the miracles happening. And it's not until we're there that we realize how many things, oh my gosh, do you realize how many things had to have fallen in place for me to be here 2 years later or here 10 months later? I mean, it's amazing. So the navigation system will not work until you put your car in drive. Once you start moving, the system can tell you which way to go. how to get there. Do you have to worry about any of the hows? No, you just have, the system is constantly calculating all the hows. So in life, guidance is immediately forthcoming if you're rolling. You don't have to figure it out. The next idea will pop into your head seemingly out of nowhere, right? You've been knocking on a door and divine mind is coming on and knocking on your consciousness saying, look, let's try this. That's a miracle, right? Change of mind is a miracle. Sadly, some people don't take action because they don't know how to make their dreams come true. The hows are not up to you. The universe can figure all of that out. And I would like to make it a little side thing here. Elizabeth Gilbert wrote a great book, and she talks about, we're all supposed to have this dream, and we're supposed to know what we're supposed to do, and we're supposed to go after it. Well, what if you don't have some big pulsating dream out there, right? That's just constantly making you lose your breath from excitement because you want to achieve this dream. What if you're at a place in your life where you've done a lot of big dream things and peaceful coexistence is your, living harmoniously is your dream? That's perfect. I mean, it doesn't have to be some big fat thing that you're going after. It can be as simple as, I choose to live in this manner. So Mike talks about those big dreams and stuff, and I don't want that to stop us from realizing that these tools work in every aspect at every level of our lives. And then step 3. So step 1 was you need the end result. Step 2 was you've got to take action. And step 3 is have patience and understand that the miracles of progress are invisible. Once you program your navigation system to go to a new address, and so this ranch will be 3 hours away out in East Texas where I'm headed. Of course, it'll be a little longer because I've been to the farmer's market and Whole Foods. But if you're driving and you've never been on this road before and you've never seen where any of these landmarks or anything before, when do you know that you got it right? When do you know that all the directions and all the turns and all of the stuff was right? What, about 2 hours and 59 minutes? Right? You don't know till you make that last turn, and there it is. There's the happy ranch, right? You made it. So you trusted all along in this GPS system, getting you navigated where you wanted to go. And I'm here in a church, and we all have faith, and we have faith. We're trusting in divine order, in God, in spirit, in truth, soul, whatever we want to call it, principle, these laws. One of the words they use in Christian Science a lot is principle with a capital P as a synonym for God. And that's the word that represents the laws that are ordained, holy laws that are there eternally. Just like this law of cause and effect. It works. It works whether it's working for you or working against you. It's what you put in, but that wheel is still spinning all of the time. So similarly in life, our journeys can last for weeks or months or even years, especially if we want big change. It may seem that we are not making progress, yet we are. The moral is never give up. Don't assume that the system isn't working. The system does not fail. It does not stop working for us as long as we are doing our part. So often we do not see the miracles, but it doesn't mean they're not happening. By getting in alignment, you used that word this morning, by getting in alignment, the journey will be smooth. Stay on point and continue thinking those thoughts. Keep taking action. And at this point in the teachings, Mike has, when we're teaching a class, and the classes are normally an hour and a half, so we would stop and we would have people write down what are some baby steps that you have taken in the past that led to something really great. So I just want you to take a moment and think of something, just the first thing that pops in your consciousness. And what was one small thing you did to get yourself there? Might have been the first thing or the last thing. Does everybody have something? So what we want to do is we want to focus on our dreams or that goal and take action in that direction without insisting on how we get there. Mike calls them the cursed hows. Don't insist on the cursed hows. And he says, why is it important not to insist on how a dream comes true? Well, we don't want to limit God, right? If we decide this one thing that's going to, let's go back to abundance, because we didn't really explore that. So let's say abundance is my dream, all right? That's one of my goals. And of course, abundance to me means abundance of money so that I may have a home and live and eat in a healthy way, right? And have a nice warm bed. Abundance means friends, means people that I can interact with. It means like-minded people in my world. Abundance means joy. To me, experiencing joy. It means to me, abundance means being able to give back. You know, giving and receiving is two sides of the same coin. So abundance, there are so many things that can mean abundance. The fact that I have a car that works, to me, is huge abundance. And I think my car's 9 years old. And I feel so rich every time I get in that little tiny Mini and drive someplace, because I have so much gratitude that it works for me. So there are so many ways a dream can come true that you can feel abundant. If you insist that I'm going to attain abundance by winning the lottery, let's pick something funny like that, then you keep going out and buying those tickets and it's not happening and you're not winning. You know what? Maybe Divine Mind had something, a whole different path available to you, this journey, this beautiful, fulfilling journey with a livelihood that you would manifest all of the money that you needed and the sense of abundance. And you didn't even go down that road. You never knocked on that door because you were buying lottery tickets, right? So when you insist on the one way it has to happen, you're shutting the doors on all the other ways. One of my favorite sayings that my Christian Science practitioner said to me was, don't outline, you're outlining. And when you outline, you're limiting God. Do not limit God. Do not limit the goodness with a capital G that is available to all of us. We live and move and have our being in goodness. I just recently I don't want to make sure I don't go too long. So let me finish this and I want to tell you about a story recently. I mean, not the whole thing, but this section. So we don't want to limit God. We need to always keep busy. I can do this. I will do this. Yes, I can do this, I will do this, I am doing this. Learning about life's magic is never a cause to stop taking action. It's the opposite. It means that we take full responsibility for ourselves, our dreams, and this means we'll never stop taking action towards brainstorming, thinking, coming up with new ideas, and moving forward. I think this is so important because I'm trying to think, it was probably about 25 years ago when I read my first, maybe longer, when I read my first You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, right? And when I realized that I was responsible for everything that was, pretty much everything that was occurring in my experience, for anything else, and I grew up with a lot of blame mentality, okay? So I was like, oh man, so that means I'm going to have to do something about this, right? And I did, and I chose to, and 25 or 30 years later, it is so freeing to know that when something's happening, you just gotta look right here, right? Just take a look in that mirror and figure out what you can do different, if there's anything that you can do. Sometimes we can't control it, we didn't cause it, we didn't create it. But there are, and in which case we can release it. But when we can do something and take action, how marvelous is that we can change our experience in this lovely world of goodness in which we live. So Mike has one section called Extra Credit for Faster Manifestation. And he says you act as if you're already there. It's pretending. We're pretending that we're already there. But let's remember that energy. Let's go back to the very first talk when we learned about creative visualization. And Mike says no more than 5 minutes a day, but spend 5 minutes a day visualizing what it is you want. What does it feel like? What will it look like? You get a little more specific when you're doing your visualization, but that's only so you can bring up all of the excitement and the emotions which activate, right? The law of attraction, it's that emotion activating that excitement, that abundance, that sense of freedom, the love, the sense of love you feel because you're surrounded by friends and family and you get to be with like-minded people. It's that joy that you exude as a result of that creative visualization that attracts the like energy, right? Like attracts like. So we can't sit around thinking, God, I wish I was happy, you know. We have to choose to find ways to be happy. And you know what? The fastest lane to any emotion, any positive emotion, as far as I'm concerned, is gratitude. Because we can all have a moment of gratitude, right? To switch something around, or to elicit an emotion in us, or to help us feel an emotion stronger. So remember that part about visualization from the very first talk. No more than 5 minutes a day. Have it colorful, have it exciting, have it draw up a lot of emotion. And then when your timer goes off, boom, you're done. You know what? Then you get out of your chair and you start taking action towards all of those different things that you want. When I was doing my visualization last week, I set my timer for 4 minutes actually. And so I set it for 4 minutes, and I had 4 categories I was working on. And I only had gotten through 2 categories of visualizing what it would feel like. And my alarm went off, and I hit repeat. And I did the next 4 minutes for the other 2 categories. Because I was in the zone. And you know, when you're in those moments, oh my gosh, the power is, well, we can't measure it. The power is immeasurable when you're in the zone with God like that. So just not every chance you get, once a day, make sure that you visualize, and whatever that means to you, whether you call it prayer or whatever you want to call it, give yourself those few minutes every day to set forth your picture. You're making a vision board every day in your mind, is what's happening. So, the extra credit for faster manifestation. Our actions are our beliefs in motion, okay? Our actions are our beliefs in motions, linking the present we know to the future we expect. Now let's think about this. So, the same old stuff that hasn't been working isn't going to start working, right? If those actions aren't working, you need new actions and new beliefs, right? Our actions are the physical extensions of our beliefs. Our beliefs come first. So if we think a tiger is going to eat us, we're going to start running, right? Tiger first, the tiger is going to bite us, so boom, we start running. The belief, then the action. So beliefs create actions. This means our actions can reveal what our invisible beliefs are. And we spent a whole session talking about that. Actions can create new beliefs. As we discussed back in session 2, we can install new beliefs by acting as if we already believe this way. So we act the way we choose to believe. We act as if. And when we act as if, that means we're taking actions, and those actions begin to feel more and more comfortable. And those actions are installing that underlying belief. So a lot of times when I started on this process and on this part of my journey, and before I knew about Mike Dooley, I was actively working to release any beliefs that no longer served me. I had gotten that far, you know, in my studies and my work, and so I was asking that they be revealed to me so I could let them go, because they obviously weren't serving me. And the more I worked with it, the more I realized sometimes I just didn't need to know what they were. I could just pray and ask that any beliefs that no longer serve me are released, and trust that they are. And then if I find that any little residue from an old belief is there, usually something very inappropriate will pop right out of my mouth and give me a chance to take a look at that old belief that I thought I had completely deleted. But there was still a little bit of copy back there around that belief. So what I like about Mike's work, especially in this Infinite Possibilities section, and the one that we discussed before, is just install a new belief. Who's got time to figure out what all the old ones are and let them go, right? And who cares anyway? If you don't want them anymore, what difference does it even make if you know what they are? Install new ones. Just decide who you want to be, how you want to act, and how you want to present in the world. Act that way, and it installs those beliefs. And that's a pretty cool shortcut when you think about all the stuff that I went through and all the years I prayed and worked with that. So he says, acting as if our dream has already come true. In other words, pretend. When acting in line with the new beliefs you wish to possess, not only are new beliefs installed, but the old limiting beliefs dissolve. Right? When the light is shined in the darkness just dissipates. So those old limiting beliefs, they have no value. They have no use or even any meaning any longer when you're acting in this new way. So how would you act as if you wanted more money? We could all, no matter how much money you have, there's nothing not spiritual about money. The more money Jim and I have, the more money we can give to charities, the more money we can support other, things that we really believe in. We invest in companies that are really open-minded and trying to make the world a better place. So if you wanted to act as if you had more money, you could give to charity. You could add a few more dollars to the minimum payment that you're making on a monthly credit card. You could just get online and price the places you want to go on vacation. You can open an online investment account. So if you open it with $1, that's $1, and it's open, waiting to receive more money. One of the things that I choose to do is I replace negative worry thoughts with gratitude for what I do have. I'm very aware of when a negative thought comes up, and I just instantly replace it with a feeling, a thought of gratitude, which creates a feeling of gratitude. So when you're doing your creative visualizations, it's really important to act as if you are already there, and use your emotions to supercharge that experience. So taking action, this is one of my favorite parts of Mike's teaching, because when you can use this metaphor of life, this GPS metaphor of life, you can go anywhere you want to go, right? You put the end result in, and you choose if it's something simple as I choose to live in a more simple manner and to be fiscally conservative so that my husband at 68 does not have to worry about finding another job. I shared with you in the opening one that my husband was released from his, very unexpectedly released from his job, and the first experience that I had around that was, I wonder what thoughts I had that created this thing. Where most people would feel blamed, feel just all kinds of negative stuff. I looked right at myself, what thoughts have I had? And I realized my thoughts were, I wanted to spend more time with Jim. He was on the road all the time. He was 68, he's had a massive stroke. We don't know how long he gets to still be on the planet. And I thought, wow, I have this opportunity to live with Jim. Well, he hadn't hit that magic number, right, in our retirement dollars. So what? Abundance to me now isn't that hitting that number in our retirement dollars. Abundance to me is having time with my dear husband. That's abundance. So installing that and understanding the importance of that helps me release a limiting belief that we had to hit a certain number before he could retire. That's irrelevant to me now. What is the abundance of the joy that we can experience. So as I do these creative visualizations, I usually combine them with my meditation and my prayer time. I do consider meditation time and prayer time separate in my mind, because in meditation I'm listening to God, and in prayer time I'm working for myself and for others. So I'm more proactive in the prayer time, offering the universe what it is that I request. And I'm not real specific. I make my requests in a very general manner. And then my meditation, so I pray first, then I meditate and listen to what God, Spirit and angels, whatever they have to say to me. And then I usually do my visualization at the end of that, because boy, you're really in the zone by then. So those are ways that I take action, and I think you can also tell that I take action, that I'm an energetic person, and I take a lot of action, that I get out into the world and really choose to do good and to be good and to see good. Because when we see good, it comes, right? In what we know now about physics is that you can see something as a wave, or you can see it as a particle, right? You can see light as a wave, or you can see light as a particle. It's how we look at it. It's that it's perceived. So when we see goodness manifests. I had an experience in the story that I was going to tell that I'll finish with then, because I was going to finish with Ernest Holmes, but I'll finish with this story instead. So my husband and I invested in a company. We invested 10% of our net worth in this company. We believe in it so much and how it's going to change the world. And if you're interested at all, it's called Tacky Box. It's a local company. So we've been working with the school district, and we had a huge amount of money, probably maybe close to a third of our revenue for this year. And so we had the purchase order, and then the purchase order disappeared. I mean, like vanished into thin air, and we didn't know if it was a web mistake. We didn't know what happened. But it was very important that we received this revenue because we'd already performed given them the goods and performed the services. So the owner of the company was very concerned about this, and I said, you know what, I've got this. And so for 3.5 period, she wants goodness. It's a company for children. It's a social emotional learning program. It helps children learn to self-regulate, and we can put it in schools and where children don't get as much help from home as they might in some other schools, and that goodness reigns in at the administrative level. The school district chose to use this product. Goodness reigns. Goodness reigns that the principals and the guidance counselors in these schools choose to use this product because the children, they're changing. Goodness reigns in the lives of these children because they're learning these new techniques to self-regulate and to learn how to deal with bullying and learn how to deal with their own emotions and how to process things in a positive manner. Goodness reigns in their homes because the children are coming home with these ideas. Goodness reigns in the schools because actions of discipline are down. Goodness reigns, and that whoever needs to see this to get that PO, because 5 people had to sign it, and this PO had to be created, and 5 people had to sign this. Goodness reigns in the minds and hearts of all of those, I don't even know who they are, of those people, so that goodness may continue to reign right downward and filter outwards. And so I shared with my friend that I was really praying a lot about this, and this particular friend said, well, I don't think prayer works on bureaucrats. That's okay, that's an opinion, right? That was on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we found out we got the funding. Goodness reigns. So I just encourage all of you to stay in that space of knowing you are metaphysical thinkers. You are thought beings. So be what you choose to be, and all of the rest happens. Thank you.
Well, let's do meditation. We have meditation music. Let's just close our eyes, take a deep breath, and relax. And let's just soak in that beautiful message. Absolute good, God, does indeed reign. Reigns on each and every one of us. Wherever we live, whatever path we've chosen, there's only good. And Father, as we realize with an awareness that we can move forward in peace and trust, we give no worry, for we know that we are guided and directed. And in this meditation, let us take that example of a white, beautiful white light of intelligence, peace and prosperity, flowing in through the top of our head, down through our body, anchoring us, stabilizing us, making us whole and complete, and branching out into our arms. The wisdom of knowing what to do, when to do it, and how to do it is fed into us as our human self through our doing as our being directs. And we feel that flow of that gentle breeze of divine light stirring within us to go forth as a being of light. We can feel the presence and the power. We know that before we speak, you know the vision and the thoughts in our heart and mind. That is the vision that you've put there. that brings absolute good to each and every one of us. And we have the willingness to turn within and to be part of that divine plan. The world right now needs a vision of wholeness. And we start with that vision right here within each and every one of us. Our elevating thoughts will elevate the energy wherever we go. The energy of wholeness and peace and prosperity and absolute goodness will not only be experienced by us, but within everyone that we touch. And Father, we are so grateful, so very grateful that we have that ability, that awareness, that realization to accomplish infinite possibilities, not knowing what they are until they are made manifest in our mind. And we let go and let you direct our path. We surrender all, Father. We surrender all to you. As you bless each and every one of us, we take that blessing and we share it. We are here to forgive. We are here to give. And in that cycle of life, we become the ambassador of absolute good. And so it is. And we let it be. Amen.